What up, though, everybody? Welcome back to Daily Upside, the sports cards show where we talk about sports cards every day. Yesterday was the NBA draft, and I don't know about you guys, but I wasn't too blown away with everything that happened. It was a little lackluster. I was super upset to see LaMelo go to the Hornets. I just don't know if he's going to do that well there. And there were some other plays that I wasn't too happy with, but there's also a lot of steals, a lot of potential in this draft, kind of in those middle rounds, the mid to late rounds. I think we got some really good steals. And yeah, I thought I would just kind of check out here and see what Bleacher Report thought. They went ahead and they graded every draft pick 1 through 60. This is the type of content we should be looking at as investors, kind of getting to know these players, getting familiar with them. There wasn't a lot of college basketball. It was just kind of a weird year. So if you're not familiar with these guys, it's okay. You're not less of a basketball fan or anything of that nature. A lot of these players I haven't seen play either. And now is the time to kind of read their profiles, watch some highlights, and just kind of see what the potential may be with them. So as you guys know, I'm a Detroit Pistons fan, so I'm just going to scroll down to what was it, number 7, and kind of see what they thought. I was really happy with Killian Hayes. I think he's a great prospect. He kind of reminds me of D'Angelo Russell a little bit, and I'm really excited to see what the Pistons do with him. Hopefully they let him play. Sometimes we get these rookies, we bench them. The Pistons never let the rookies just go, but with this new coach, I think that might change. I was really, sad to see that Blake Griffin was still with us. So that kind of sucks. But yeah, they got an A- for this kid. I plan to pick up some of his cards. It's probably not the best thing to do, but I've always wanted to invest in like a hometown, player. So I think now I have the opportunity to do so. So if you guys open some packs, you pull in the Killian Hayes, make sure you think of your boy. I linked this to Twitter, so if you guys want to check it out, go to my Twitter. You can kind of see what these draft picks are. But what I want to get right into today is just talking about some of these sports cards that have ended over the last few days. So yesterday we saw this 1996 Skybox EX credentials. This is a huge card, like number to 499, came out in 96, and it went for $51,000. EX is a very condition sensitive set. It kind of makes sense that this one sold for this much. Probably not that many of them available, but I mean, that's a ton of money. So, one thing I wanted to touch on is that now that we're kind of getting into higher end cards, I mean, you might want to start looking at like PWCC or Probstein or, I don't know too much about those guys, but, handling a $50,000 transaction is a lot. I mean, that's $5,000 in eBay fees. There's a lot of liability there. So just pointing that to some of you guys who are on the higher end side of investing, you might want to start looking at some third party people to kind of auction off your cards or sell them because things can get scary when we start talking about this kind of money. But yeah, bringing up this card because you see this is a serial number card, number to 499. And this is something that we've been talking about, guys. Some people here are short term investors. Some of you guys are long term investors. You're trying to find the next Kobe or the next Michael Jordan or the next LeBron. And these are going to be the cards to buy long term. If this was, today's sets, Topps Chrome is a great set and everything, but a lot of people would have been, sleeping on this card. This is similar to Clearly Donruss or Innovation. A lot of people are sleeping on Giannis's Innovation card, and it might be similar to this. Revolution is another set that kind of comes to mind. They're not serial number, but they're super SP'd. So definitely just blown away by this auction. I mean, this is a huge number for this card. Obviously, the Kobe fans are coming out, so we'll continue to keep an eye on that and see what happens. Also, speaking of some insane auctions, I mean this is going to be an all time card. $125,000 for a rookie of Luca. That's his Prism Gold autograph, sticker auto, number to 10. That's a ton of money for that card. I mean, whoever got that is probably extremely happy. I would owning a gold Prism rookie of your player is like the ultimate achievement in sports cards. So shout out to whoever won this. And yeah, guys, rare cards are really coming in hot right now. Another strong Luca auction that ended was his courtside. If I'm not mistaken, this is a new high for a courtside PSA 10. It's really odd that some of these cards are hitting new all-time highs right now, while other cards are still down. Luca's Prism is still like not at its all-time high, but here we have the courtside pushing through, and it's just like, is it going to get to 10K? Is this card going to get the 10K? I remember charting this card. I was talking to Sports Card Investor and I was like, yo, did you see the Luca? It sold for $300. I think I still have the message. And here we are now. This card is at $6,589. So it's just insane the level of growth this one had. I was really excited that I was able to pick up the Trae Youngs when I did. I'm telling you guys, don't sleep on that market cap method. It showed me that courtside was going to be a dope set. And for those of you who've been here since day one, you know I've called optic. I called optic when it before it blew up, and I called courtside before it blew up. So we're 2 for 2 on the calls here. And speaking of Trae Young, his is currently going right now. There's a live auction of Trae Young going for $1,575. Is it going to hit 2,000? I'm not really sure. I think that's kind of going to be kind of a stretch, but yeah, man, people want these cards, and I think they're going to keep going up as the season comes close. And that kind of brings me to a question before we get into the next card here. People are wondering, like, should they sell some of their cards now? Should I sell some of my cards? If I have a Trae Young Select and I pay $500 for it, should I sell it? And that's a question that happens in the Discord all the time. I get messaged that all the time. And look, guys, there's no real right or wrong answer if you should sell your cards or not. You have to factor in life. We're not really selling anything. When I look at this card, I don't look at this card as money. I look at it as an exchange of value. So if this card ends for $2,000, I have to ask myself, do I value the $2,000 more, or do I value the Trae Young rookie more? And I think it's the same thing when you sell a card. Let's say you buy this card at $2,000, and then let's use this Prism for example. These have gone up. Let's say you bought this Prism at $1,500, and now it's selling for 2,951. All you have to ask yourself is, do I value the $2,951 more, or do I value the card more? That's how I decide when to sell. And it's not about selling at the top. It's not about getting the most money, because we all know if this card dips to $2,200, you're going to be like, oh, I should have sold. But you value the card more at that price. So I think that's, people ask me, how do I know when to sell, or how do I determine when to sell? That Steph Curry video we did yesterday. How did you know when to sell those cards? Just when I didn't value them as much. When the Panini BGS 9.5 started going to like $200 or $300, I was like, I probably wouldn't buy this car for $300. So it's probably a good time for me to sell. And that's kind of, where I get it from. I probably wouldn't be buying this card at $3,000. So I'm probably going to sell it. You know what I mean? And that's my best advice for you guys. It's all about value. A really good example is like this Donruss Optic card. It sold yesterday for $333. If I had this card, I'd probably just value it over the $300. $300 isn't going to change my life. It's not going to do any well for me. If I get $300, I'll probably just spend it on another card anyway. And it's just like, I value the Trae Young card more than the other card that I'm probably going to buy with the $300. I value the Trae Young Optic more than I do the Cam Reddish card that I'm thinking about investing in. So, this card ended at a really good price point yesterday. I think the last time we looked at them, they were $300. So now we see them going at $333. So like a 10% increase. And I think they're going to keep going up, maybe 400, maybe 450. I wouldn't be surprised. I think all Trae Young cards should be at least half the price of Lucas. But yeah, should you sell this card if you have it today? If you value the money. If I had a really good investment opportunity at $300, I'd probably move the Trae Young and get into the other investment opportunity. If I didn't, then I would probably just keep the Trae Young, because the $333 isn't really going to change my life. And the downside of the card probably isn't going to be that bad. If the card goes down, what do I lose? $50? I really don't care. That's kind of how I determine, when I should and when I shouldn't sell. I'm not sure if that helps you guys, because it's really just a person by person, case by case basis. Another good example is this Immaculate card. I bought mine at $1,500, and I remember making a video like I overpaid for it at the time, which I did, but I knew the value was just going to be up there because it made sense. I'll show you guys how I knew the value was going to be up there. But yeah, if this card hits like $5,000 or $6,000, I'm going to value the $6,000 more than the Trae Young. It doesn't mean that the Trae Young is a bad card to buy at 6,000. I just can do more with that $6,000 than I could with holding the card. I could start a business. I could take that money and put a down payment on something that I've always wanted that I might value more. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I think I got outbidded on this. I think this card, going for this much is insane. I think it's a proper value. The market cap method shows that it's a proper value. In fact, if you look at Luka's Immaculate, the last one went for 18,000. That's about a 2.5 or 2.7x from his Prism Silver. So if Trae Young's Prism Silver is going for 3,000, then this card should probably end around $7,000 to $8,000 if we're using a multiplier method. So, definitely a sick card. And I wanted to show you guys this example so you can kind of, figure out when you should sell. I think it really just comes down to value. But back to this Trae Young card. So how did I know this was going to be a card to buy? Well, I wrote about it in, the sports cards pick of the week. The Trae Young card was actually one of them, and it wasn't really about Trae Young, but he was the example that I used. It was actually this exact card? No. Okay. So yeah, I talked about Trae Young in my sports cards pick of the week. If you guys haven't signed up for that, it's members only. Definitely check it out. I'll leave the link to the article in the description if you want to read it. And I talked about Trae Young and I talked about Immaculate, and I started showing examples, much to what I told you guys at the time. Trae Young's Immaculate was going for less than his Prism Silver, and right off the rip, that didn't make sense to me because that wasn't the case with Lucas. Lucas Prism Silver was going for like, or Immaculate was going for like 15,000, and his Prism Silver was going for like 6,000. So it's like, why would it be any different for Trae Young? And that's all the data that I needed to understand that this was a super undervalued card. I was able to use the market cap method and be like, okay, this makes sense. If this card's going for 1881, there's no way this should be going for $1,500. And that was just enough for me. And that $1,500 was the price that I bought it. You can see that was my auction that I picked up. You can see prior to that it was $1,100, so I overpaid by $400. And that's because I had the data. I was like, I'm probably never going to see this card again, which I didn't. This is the first Immaculate Trae Young that I've seen since I bought mine, and now it's going for $3,000. So had I had waited or tried to get it for a cheaper price point, I would have missed out on a huge run when I had the information to show me that it was going to be a huge card. So yeah, I'll definitely leave this here for you guys so you can kind of read it. I'll put the link in the description and you can kind of understand why I was into these. But this is how we're predicting cards over here. Like I said, we did Optic, we did Contenders, we're on Immaculate, and now we're starting to see it pop. And for those of you who like, I don't want to be a member, I post about these things on Instagram too. I made this post 5 weeks ago, and I talked about this in the fourth episode of Daily Upside, and I'm like, there's no reason why this should be $1,500 and this should be 15,000. Luke is just not 10x the player of Trae Young, and a lot of people agree with me, but they didn't follow suit because we're buying into the market trends, and we're not trying to create our own trends. We need to be creating our own trends, and we need to be figuring out what makes sense, because this does not make sense at all. So if you haven't followed me on Instagram, definitely do so. I do post some of the things there. Obviously, if you're a member, you're going to get that information first, but I do bring it to Instagram and share it with you all as well. Last but not least, I want to talk about a play that I think could be beneficial. I have no real data to back this up, so don't go buy these without doing your own research. But I really believe that Revolution is one of the more popular paper cards. I think in the modern era of sports cards, we don't have a paper card. There's Donruss, there's Hoops, there's Revolution, there's Status. But I think Revolution is going to win in the long run. And I think that because it's very similar to EX and credentials, where it has that Galactic card. That Galactic card is a creme de la creme within sports cards. And when people want that Galactic card, they may not be able to afford the Galactic. So what they're going to do is they're going to come back and buy the Revolution, whether that's the Sunburst or the Cosmic or the Cubic is up to you. But people are going to want that same photo and that same style of card. And if you've never had a Revolution card in person, they're just beautiful, beautiful cards. And it's a nice card stock. And much like the EX, they're kind of limited in terms of, how many of them are gem mint. They're not like the most limited card in the world, but they're pretty limited. So whenever a set has a mega card like a Galactic or, something that's highly respected within the market, I think it makes sense to go get the base version of that. So right now, these are a little undervalued to me. I'll do some more research to see if it's actually, something that's like data driven, or if it's just a feeling of mine. Because right now we're just kind of acting off feeling and appeal, and that doesn't always win. But it's just a sick looking card, man. I just don't understand how people can't see this card and load up on it. So I'll do some more research, and I'll let you guys know if that's confirmed. But for those of you who like to take risks, the early adopters out there, I think Revolution will be a play, especially as Chrome cards just become more expensive. People are going to want to, buy some cheap cards of their favorite players that look good, and these look great. So that's it for this one, guys. If you guys haven't already signed up for the newsletter, then definitely go ahead and do so. Just head over to highupsideshow.com, type in your email address, and you'll be getting these videos, these type of plays to your inbox every day. Don't forget to check out the sports cards pick of the week. I'm going to link this article down below, And the this week's pick actually is coming out today. I was gonna put it out yesterday, but because of the draft, I'm like, some things might change. People might get traded. I don't want to tell anybody to buy anything or tell anybody what I'm looking at if the whole structure of the NBA changes. So as we know, not too many things happened yesterday, so I'll be dropping that today. But yeah, check out the links. Sign up for the newsletter. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Happy investing.